Ever wonder what the real difference is between a brilliant idea that actually changes things and one that just fizzles out? Well, a lot of the time, it all comes down to one single discipline. And it's not just for giant companies, it's for anyone who wants to turn an idea into reality. Project management. I mean, just think about it for a second. We have all been there, right? You have this amazing idea at work, or maybe a personal goal you're super excited about. It starts with all this energy, and then somehow it just grinds to a halt. Why is it so incredibly hard to get from A to B, from concept to completion? Well, a huge part of the problem is a lack of structure, and the scale of this is honestly staggering. Get this. A major study found that only a tiny 2.5% of corporations consistently hit all their project targets. That means 97.5% of them are missing the mark. That's a massive, massive issue. And that failure, it has a huge price tag. For every $1 billion invested in projects, a mind-blowing $97 million is just wasted because of poor performance. That is nearly 10% of all that money just vanishing into thin air. So how in the world do you fight that kind of waste? Well, the solution isn't some kind of magic trick. It's a proven, structured framework that's designed specifically to guide ideas all the way to the finish line. And it's called project management. So where do we even start? Well, to really get project management, you first have to understand the fundamental rules of the game. This is the core challenge that every single project, no matter how big or small, has to deal with. Okay, first things first, what even is a project? The official definition calls it a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. The two key words you really got to remember there are temporary and unique. A project always has a clear beginning and a clear end. And that's what makes a project completely different from, day-to-day operations. For instance, building a new company website, that's a project. It has a start and an end. But processing customer orders every single day, that's an ongoing operation. It's the routine work that keeps the lights on. This brings us to the central challenge of every single project. It's known as the triple constraint. The best way to think about it is like a three-legged stool. You've got scope, which is what you're actually building. You've got time, that's your deadline. And you've got cost, your budget. If you try to change one leg, like let's say you cut the time, you absolutely have to adjust the others. Maybe you deliver less or you spend more money. You simply can't change one without affecting the other two. So if that's the core challenge, how does successful projects actually pull it off? Well, they follow a really clear, logical roadmap. It's a 5-step journey that can take any idea from just a concept all the way to a finished reality. This whole journey kicks off with initiating. That's basically getting the green light. Then comes the most critical part, planning, where you build the blueprint for success. Executing is when the team rolls up their sleeves and actually does the work. But you can't just set it and forget it. You're constantly monitoring to make sure things stay on track. And finally, you get to closing, where you wrap everything up and hopefully celebrate a job well done. Now, here's the key insight, and a lot of people miss this. Most of us think the doing part, the execution, is the most important. But in reality, the success or failure of a project is almost always decided right here, in the planning phase. A bad plan is pretty much a guarantee of a bad outcome. And one of the most powerful tools for planning is the work breakdown structure, or WBS. I know, it sounds a little technical, but the idea is so simple. You just take your big final goal and you break it down into smaller and smaller pieces until you have a list of individual, manageable tasks. It's how you make sure nothing gets forgotten. But look, all the processes and tools in the world will only get you so far. The real secret to success in project management, it's not in a chart or a piece of software. It's always found in the people. And this is exactly where so many projects fall apart. They forget that at the end of the day, it's all about people. We call them stakeholders, and that's just anyone affected by your project, your team, your customers, your boss. If you ignore them or fail to keep them in the loop, your project is probably doomed. This is why the most critical skills for a project manager often have nothing to do with charts and graphs. They are all about people. Can you lead a team? Can you really listen to what people are saying? Can you build trust and communicate a clear vision? These are the skills that actually get things done. Okay, so we've covered the challenges, the process, and the people. But what's the actual payoff? Why should you go through all the effort of applying a formal framework like this? Well, the advantages are just huge. When you use a proper project management approach, You stop wasting money and resources. You deliver results faster. You lower your costs, and at the same time, you increase the quality of your work. In a business, all of that adds up to a much healthier bottom line. And here is the real power of this whole thing. This isn't just for building skyscrapers or designing software. Think about planning a community event, or renovating your kitchen, or even writing a book. These are all projects. This framework gives you the tools to take any big, messy idea and turn it into something real. So I'll leave you with this one question to chew on. What's the one project in your life right now, big or small, that could really, really use a better plan? If you apply these principles, you might just be surprised at what you can actually achieve.